We often hear that pro wrestlers put their lives on the line to entertain fans. It is indeed one of the most dangerous sports on the planet. Unfortunately, many tragedies have already taken place in it. Some superstars even died in the ring. This is what happened to Perro Aguayo Jr., a legend of Mexican wrestling. We are in March 2015, and he is about to undergo Rey Mysterio's famous move, the 619. Instead of staying on the ropes, he fell outside the ring. In his fall, his neck hit the rim of the ring, which injured his cervical vertebrae. Then he got a dropkick from the small luchador, a move that will be fatal for him. It will cause him a trauma to his neck, and he will be pronounced dead a few moments later at the Del Prado Hospital. This tragic accident shows us that it doesn't need much for a wrestling match to turn into a disaster. When we think of a professional wrestler who died in the ring, Owen Hart is often the first name that comes to mind.
Last night, a tragic accident took the life of Owen Hart.
The Canadian was one of the biggest stars of the WWE in the 90s when he died because of a terrible incident. We're at the Over the Edge show in May 1999 and Owen had to face The Godfather. On that day, he plays the superhero character Blue Blazer. He's going to have a special entrance where he gets to the ring from the top of the arena thanks to a harness system, a bit like Shawn Michaels had already done. But a technical problem will make him make a free fall of 78 feet. Owen will land violently in the ring and he will die of internal bleeding. He was only 34 years old and Vince McMahon, the WWE boss, will take the controversial decision to continue the show, despite this tragedy. If I talk to you about the Inoue family, you will surely think of Roman Reigns, The Rock, or Yokozuna. But there is also Gary Albright, Hafa's stepson from the Wild Samoans. It's January 2000 and he had a match at World Extreme Wrestling. He will undergo the Bulldog move there, which will leave him unconscious in the ring. In fact, he suffered a fatal heart attack in part because of his diabetes and coronary artery history. He was only 36 years old and his family will set up a show in his memory.
Very special video for a very special man, Gary Albright, who is a friend.
A female wrestler has already died in the ring at an even more shocking age of only 18 years old. We are in the 50s and Jeanette Wolfe is starting to make a name for herself in the industry. She's going to work with the legendary Mae Young, and one day she was supposed to have 2 matches. In the first, against Ella Waldeck, she will take a final body slam that will do some damage. The next few hours, she will complain of headaches, but will do the second one as if nothing happened. Except that at that moment, she collapses in the middle of the match and will never wake up again. We will later learn that she suffered a cerebral hemorrhage when she was wrestling. Some will consider Waldeck to be responsible for her death, and the police will question her 3 colleagues who were there in the ring. They will finally let them go and Waldeck will have a theory about Jeanette Wolfe's death. Apparently, the latter would have had a big hamburger and Coke shortly before her second match. She thinks she died because her stomach exploded. When we think of Brock Lesnar, we remember the devastating suplexes he does to his opponents. But this is a dangerous move that has already killed someone. It is June 2009 in the city of Hiroshima in Japan, and the legend Mitsuharu Misawa had a team match as he already had dozens of them. His popularity there was comparable to the one of Hulk Hogan in the United States. In this confrontation, he takes a suplex from Akitoshi Saito that will knock him out. Unfortunately, he will not regain consciousness, and it is apparently because of a spinal cord injury that he died. After learning that, we think back of the SummerSlam show in 2014 and imagine what state John Cena must have been in after taking 16 Brock Lesnar suplexes. It's 1987, and in pro wrestling, behemoths like Andre the Giant are hotter than ever.
Look at the size of the Giant.
The Englishman King Kong Kirk was one of them, a former rugby player who worked in a coal mine. One day, he had just taken the finisher of the wrestler Big Daddy. The latter was celebrating his victory when he realized that Kirk was on the ground completely motionless and that he was turning purple. He will call for help. The rescuers will try to resuscitate him, but it won't work. His autopsy will reveal that he already had heart problems and that a final attack was too much to him. The King Kong Kirk case shows us that it is essential to have a perfect health to be able to wrestle on a high level. The Great Khali was one of the most impressive wrestlers, with a height of 7'1", but he also had a role in the death of one of his colleagues. It's 2001, and the Indian is training to soon become a massive star in this industry. In his school, there is also Brian Ong. He is a 27-year-old young man who is 18 inches shorter than the Colossus. One evening, the great Khali and Brian practice the flapjack move. That is when a drama is going to happen. When he was supposed to land on his stomach, Brian's skull hits the ring in his fall. Because of a poorly executed move, he can't get up. He starts to get dizzy, vomits, and then passes out. Someone in the room is calling for help, and the young wrestler will be pronounced dead when he arrived at the hospital. The Indian will feel terribly guilty, and Brian's family will sue the school and Khali in court. They will receive compensation of $1 million. This tragedy will not have consequences on the Giant's career, since he will become the first Indian champion in WWE history a few years later. It is May 11, 2019, and the City of London is hosting the Lucha Libre World Show with several legends of Mexican wrestling, including the masked luchador called Silver King. For the record, imagine that he starred in the movie Nacho Libre with Jack Black in 2005. In the ring, he faces Juventud Guerrera. In the middle of the match, the first one falls to the ground, but first, everyone believes that it's part of the show. In the end, it was very real, and the executives will call for the rescuers. They will also have the decency to stop the show and ask the spectators to leave. Unfortunately, this physical effort led to a heart attack, and they will not be able to resuscitate him. Many people in the business will pay tribute to him, including Eric Bischoff, World Championship Wrestling's former president. He will declare that Silver King helped Lucha Libre to be appreciated in America.
In terms of being a wrestling town.
When we remember pro wrestling in the 90s, we may have the steroid controversy in mind. As we imagine, it did damage to the heart health of the wrestlers. There is one who even died in the ring, at least that's what some people believe, Larry Cameron. After doing football and high-level bodybuilding, he tried pro wrestling. During his career, he has already had heart problems. He was even told to stop the discipline, but he continued.
And I'm here to hurt people, and that's what I'm gonna do.
It's December 13th, 1993. Cameron participates in a show in Bremen, Germany, and he confronts Tony St. Clair. When he is only 41 years old, he suffers a heart attack in the ring. The referee decides to stop the match, and his case is therefore added to the other tragedies of sports entertainment. The $1 Million Man Ted DiBiase was a prominent character in the WWE in the early 90s. For him, everyone had a price. On the other hand, what is less known is that his father-in-law is one of the first wrestlers to have died in the ring. His name was Iron Mike DiBiase, and he was only 45 years old when he died on July 2, 1969, after facing Man Mountain Mike. What is surprising is that he was nevertheless renowned for his extraordinary physical condition. We think of a Texas death match that he had against the legend Dory Funk that lasted no less than 4 hours and 10 minutes. The legend Harley Race was the first person to realize that Iron Mike had a problem. He began to do first aid gestures to him, and he accompanied him to the hospital, where he will be pronounced dead. A heart attack took him away. According to the $1 Million Man, his death occurred as a result of cholesterol in his heart. He also pointed out that he had a propensity for future heart diseases because of his genetics. His example, like so many others, shows us how dangerous the pro wrestler job is and how much these athletes deserve to be respected. We can say that pro wrestling is really a unique world. I hope you had a good time watching this video, and I invite you to stay on the Paradise of Wrestling to look at some other ones. See you right away.
And that's the bottom line, 'cause Stone Cold said so. What?